The deal's dead. I assume the state will get sued. People were willing to do that in order to stop the sale, so we'll just see how that all plays out.
Well, it's playing out. It was the worst kept secret during the waning days of this past legislative session. Passing the Idaho Transportation Department budget would cancel the sale of their empty building on State Street, but it would also likely get the state sued. And that is happening, but maybe not for the obvious reason of backing out of a deal. The claim is that the budget is a blatant disregard for the state constitution's single subject clause. We see Congress do this all the time. They load up legislation with countless appropriations and policies to bring everyone in for a yes vote. They call them omnibus bills for a reason. But Idaho can't do omnibus, or at least they're not supposed to. Turns out there's only a problem there if someone says it is and takes the state to court. We saw it happen a couple times this session, this omnibus or more than one subject thing happening. Remember the school facilities bill? But I guess blending tax breaks and school funding typically don't trigger an outcry. The ITD budget, though, that apparently has, with this combo of a budget and blocking a sale. So the prospective buyers are suing something, well, anyone who saw or was paying attention saw coming. Here's Andrew Bartline.
If you believe the Idaho State Legislature is bound to one supreme document,
the senator will not vote for a bill that violates the Constitution.
Then what's it mean when the definitive state ink is treated like a question in need of an answer?
The courts determined that constitutional was whatever the legislature determined it to be.
Meaning whatever they say goes.
Man, I'll never do that, me personally.
Yet in both chambers,
has every member voted? Clerk will lock the machine and report the pairs.
They still voted for a bill that seems to promote a problematic pair of its own.
I really question the legality of it, but it's totally inappropriate and not how this building's supposed to work.
The state transportation budget not only set future spending, but barred a building from a previously agreed upon sale.
And the developer signed the agreement from the buyer's perspective on the 18th of March. But the state still hasn't signed it and won't now because the legislature directed them to kill it.
The public bid and sale process took years and resources. The lawsuit to follow took a month.
When someone is opposed to the idea of the bill, then they start looking for that more than one issue as a way to challenge the bill.
Dr. Stephanie Witt is a political science professor at Boise State University.
As a part of our state constitution, legislation and initiatives have a single subject.
But that line is known to be subjective.
It kind of depends on how broadly one wants to consider a topic area.
Hawkins Companies, the Pacific Companies, and FJ Management submit the winning bid, and they contend the appropriation budget is out of line.
That is a major piece of policy that historically would have gone through a policy committee.
Their lawsuit asked the state Supreme Court to declare it in violation of the Constitution. The law officially kicks in by July with the next fiscal year.
I believe it's time for us to take a stand on this type of lawmaking.
The single subject clause sat center in multiple debates.
It's my opinion
on multiple bills.
That there is some constitutional concerns.
Now becoming law, becoming a real problem.
Yeah, we gave a lot of fodder to the lawyers by passing illegal and unconstitutional laws this year.
The plaintiffs wrote in a public statement, quote, "We are confident the outcome of this litigation will be a win for small government and free market advocates across Idaho." Because a business knows you're only good as your word, and the government's only good as the doctrine they follow.
Which brings us back to the single subject rule. It turns out the framers were pretty smart when they put that into the Constitution.
Governor Brad Little often puts out a transmittal letter after he signs something into law. In this case, he did not sign this into law. He let that 5-day timer go out to where it just goes into law on its own. In that transmittal letter, he voiced concerns about how this could hurt the state's reputation in dealing with private business, and they will not comment on pending litigation. There was nothing about concerns of it being unconstitutional, just did not think that maybe it was the best business practice. Not enough to veto, though. It became law.
Okay, so yeah, reputation is one thing. Businesses back out of deals, I wouldn't say all the time, but they do it frequently. And that happens. And yes, maybe your reputation is hurt. But it seems to me like all that discussion in both houses, both chambers, they were like, if you want to have a reason to sue us, here's how, and it's a constitutional thing.
I mean, it's one of those open secrets where the lawmakers say, this is not constitutional, and you heard Senator Brian Lenny say it, one piece there too. He's like, but then you guys vote for it.
Yeah.
He said, I personally would never do that. We'll see if that holds up. But there have been lawmakers that said, I don't think this is constitutional, but there's something in there they like, and so they will vote for it.
Interesting to hear the lieutenant governor saying, we decide what's constitutional and what's not.
Well, now it's the Supreme Court who's going to decide.
Somebody will. All right, thanks.